up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Snapshot, it's all about unloading to make new friends when we take a look at the Ballistica Prime. Now, as with all Prime weapons, I'm gonna go ahead and leave links to their drop locations in the description box below, mainly because of the fact that relics get vaulted all of the time, and you guys know that I am not responsible enough to keep on top of it. Just do be aware it does require Mastery Rank 7 to craft, and if you want to pick it up, you can go ahead and take advantage of the Hydroid Prime access while it is still around. Now, for those of you who've never used a Ballistica or any of its variants, it's a secondary crossbow which fires a flurry of bolts in a horizontal spread on a single click, whilst charging up the shot fires a single bolt that deals the same amount of damage as 4 bolts combined. At the time of this recording, however, the Prime variant always fires out 4 bolts that have innate punch through, whether charged or uncharged, with its charged shots dealing bonus damage. If your charged shot should kill an enemy, that enemy becomes a friendly spirit that fights alongside you for 7 seconds. After testing, it does not seem to have a cap as to how many spirits you can have out at once, but due to its limited duration, I haven't been able to get more than 6 or 7 at a time. Moving along to its statistical upgrades, compared to the Rakta Ballistica, its base damage has increased from 300 up to 304, with its IPS shifting from 95% puncture to 55% puncture and 40% slash. This pairs fairly well with its increased status chance that has been bumped up to 20%. It's also received a faster charge rate from 0.8 to 1.0, reload speeds increased from 2.0 to 1.2, and its magazine has jumped from 20 to 32, which should help with its increase in ammo consumption. Now, as for the build, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I feel a little bit wonky on this one. Now, it does retain that 20% critical chance that the Rakta Ballistica had, so of course, Prime Target Cracker and Prime Pistol Gambit are perfect for it, as with the normal slew of secondary mods. Now, because of the fact that it did get a bump to its status chance, I figured I would go ahead and toss on some status elementals to take advantage of that. But what really gets me is this last slot here. I've been debating whether I want to put on a 3rd elemental status mod, a fire rate mod, which really helps out a lot, I'm going to be completely honest with you, or if I wanted to put a slash mod and change everything over to viral. At this point in time, I'm still not sold on any one of them. They all seem to work fairly similarly. It just is going to depend on exactly what you're trying to do. So let's go ahead and take a look at its performance. Alright, so if I'm going to be completely honest with you, the issue that I have with this weapon is mainly the fact that it's this weird, combination of critical and status, and legitimately, with status you want fast fire rate, right? Because you want to apply as much status as possible, but here you're rewarded with more damage for charging it up. So I feel a little bit torn as to whether I want charge shots or not. Of course, now clearly, since we're trying to kind of whittle down this guy's armor innately, the first thing that we want to do is not necessarily a charge shot, because you're not stripping away the armor so fast. You actually want to go ahead and kind of like smash through his armor by hitting him with a flurry of arrows upon arrows upon arrows, right? You just want to do it real fast. And then once the armor is down, then you want to go ahead and start using your charge shots to deal some damage. So that's kind of like where I'm getting a weird disconnect with this, mainly because of the fact that, you know, with status weapons, you want a really, really fast fire rate, but here, the way you do damage is through charged shots. So I don't know, you guys are gonna have to chime in and let me know how you feel about it, because literally for me at least, I'm like, the only way I'm gonna strip through this guy's armor is if I'm like literally pelleting him with a gazillion billion bolts at a fast fire rate. And that's why I was saying that I really, really like Gunslinger on this, mainly because of the fact that you could pelt him very, very quickly with all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that plays out. Alright, so now we have dropped the fire mod, and now we are just going straight in for fire rate to try to strip down this guy's armor. Which, of course, this means it's less status, but that means we can kind of whittle him down a lot faster. And as you can tell right there, we're actually able to take him down pretty quick, and it felt like it was quicker with the Gunslinger, mainly because of the fact that we don't have to worry about proccing fire. We only really have to worry about corrosive in the standard IPS, and we get to go in faster, so that means that we get to strip the armor faster, which gets us to the point of, you know, being able to do charge shots and taking him down with the charge shots instead, right? But that's just my current feelings, and that's kind of why I said that I felt like Gunslinger was a little bit stronger on this than a 3rd elemental status mod, but that's just kind of like my personal preference. However, let's go ahead and toss on viral and slashing just so that you can see how that works as well. So we've swapped into viral, and I've taken out Gunslinger and replaced it with main to kind of like push the slash status. and it's doing pretty well. But I still kind of feel like Gunslinger's working a little bit better. I don't know, you guys, like, in the comments, let me know. I still feel like I like Gunslinger and Corrosive the best. But of course, clearly, this is just for armored targets. We've got Hydroid who can literally use Corrosive Barrage on enemies and strip enemies down a little bit more. So you might consider running the Viral and Slash instead if you're going to go ahead and use Corrosive Barrage, because it does synergize well with him. But clearly, not every single Warframe out there is necessarily going to have the ability to strip off armor, so it's kind of like one of those things to consider. You know, different builds for different setups. In fact, let's go ahead and do a little Corrosive Rain on him right now and see if that helps out a little bit more. Let's just do it real fast. I don't need a super fast charge. We'll just let this guy get built in real fast. But the headshots are a little bit more difficult to get. But hey, it worked. It stripped off the armor. It let the viral damage do the base damage. And of course, it's got the slashing to go along with it. So that works pretty well. At least that's my feelings on that current build. So all in all, the Ballistica Prime is a very interesting addition to the roster. Now, clearly, there's going to be a lot of comparison between the Rakta Ballistica and the Ballistica Prime, mainly because of the fact that the Rakta Ballistica's Blight effect is just so insanely powerful, dealing damage and spreading the viral status in a big area of effect, restoring your energy, and giving you a boost to your movement speed is undoubtedly something that you need to pay attention to when comparing these two. However, I feel like some of that power from the AoE has actually been stripped down and been put into the actual Ballistica Prime. I mean, you've got built-in punch through, whether it's on a charge shot or a normal shot. You've got the addition of all of those specters, which prove to be offensive and great defensive tools. The interesting thing here is this is one of the few weapons out there that can actually create decoys for you and can create multiple decoys on the field. It's got innate punch through, so those charge shots can actually create more than one decoy at a time, which kind of takes some heat off of you. Now, I do need to clarify, I don't feel like there's any specific taunting effect that happens, but since there are more bodies on the field, enemies are going to be distracted, and that's just something that the Rakta Ballistica doesn't have. Now, me personally, I feel like both of them have their own merits, and I feel like the Ballistica Prime is just a slight bit ahead of the Rakta Ballistica, but of course that always has to do more with my playstyle and what I want to do with it. Regardless, there will be more discussion about that in the upcoming gameplay. However, that's it for the facts and figures, so if that's all you're here for, I'll see you guys later, and if you want to stay tuned for more chatting, stay tuned! Okay, so is it bad that I can already feel, like I can feel it in my bones, the toxicity is already flowing in the comment section. In fact, I believe, and I'm just calling it right now, that several people have already left comments before they've even finished watching the entire video about how they feel like the Rakta Ballistica is better and that the Rakta Prime is trash and not worth farming. Is that just... Is it me, or do I just know the Warframe community a little too goddamn well? Because in my bones, that's what I'm sensing. If I'm making predictions, that's what's going on right now in the comment section. Now, of course, some of those claims aren't unfounded. I'm not going to say that, you know, that this is 100% better. I mean, it's going to depend on your playstyle, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But me personally, one of the things that I definitely want to note is I felt like the Rakta Ballistica was just an okay weapon. Like, I felt like it was just okay. Like, the Ballistica Prime, I can be like, alright, it feels good to shoot it. Like, it, you know, it'll clear out enemies. It's got a good IPS spread. It's got a nice status chance. You know, you can fast fire it, and its charge shot fires multiple bullets, which is a good thing, because if it does that, that means it has more chances to apply status, right? So it's a positive thing, and of course, you know, you have all of these specters that come out and go along with it. They'll do their individual damage. You know, here's the thing, all of the people that are gonna stand the Rakta Ballistica, you know, they're gonna be like, well, you can do AoE damage to 1,000,000 enemies at once. But yeah, like, in reality though, you're not hitting 1,000,000 enemies at once. You don't really have control over when it goes off. I mean, you might try to, you know, plan it out and try to get yourself in a good place once you see the bars kind of like leveling up and whatnot. But, you know, it's not necessarily 100% reliable as to when it's going to go off. However, you damn well know all of the... And here's the thing. If you like the Rakta Ballistica, fucking more power to you. It's all whatever you like. I'm not playing your game for you. I'm not deciding what your loadout is, but I'm just saying right now, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people saying, well, it's gonna hit at least 5 enemies, and you know, they're gonna factor that into calculations, and I can see all the theory crafting from these people, but you know, they don't necessarily measure how much DPS like a freaking corrupted bombard is doing with it for the 7 seconds that it's out, or how much DPS that corrupted bombard is absorbing. Because that's kind of like a big thing too, is like, you know, they might be able to take the heat off of you, or, hey, if you're smart with your Rakta Ballistca, you can almost play like motherfucking Pokemon with these assholes and capture all the good ones, you know? Get yourself some corrupted ancients, get some heals going for your team, even some of those drones that I fucking hate so much, you know, get them on your side and get some shield restorations. You know, these people aren't necessarily going to think of that kind of stuff, right? So, you know, they're only gonna have the proofs for their side. And I don't mean to be so negative, but I know that this is gonna exist within the community. There's a lot of that mentality of, which one is better? I vouch for the one that is the best, and it is the best. But you know, it's like to each his own, and I think that, you know, because of the fact that I will say that these definitely kind of feel like side grades. In their own ways, you know, some people are gonna say, because I think for me the biggest part of the what is it called? Of the Rakta Ballistca, I actually liked using it in builds that are like energy intensive, because you could get a bunch of energy back from it. You know, you have this almost constant stream of energy that's flowing as long as you're killing enemies, right? You can, it's reliable, especially if you've got a, what is the word called? If you've got primed flow in to kind of help you stockpile that energy, it's really great for those kind of things, and I definitely see the value in it there. But I'm really liking the fact that you can basically body block enemies with this thing, you know? You can literally create like a little wall of specters that they're gonna have to get through in order to get to you, right? And I kind of feel like that's definitely something that's valuable. The fact that it also has innate punch through too, which is something that I really, really like. I didn't actually realize it because I thought that the it's been and you have to give me a free pass on this. It's been a while since I've actually used the Rakta Ballistca, but I actually thought that the Rakta Ballistca had innate punch through on its charge up shots. I think that it might have only had it might only have actually had like physics impact, but I know that this one actually has legit like punch through on every one of its shots, whether it's just like a standard shot or whether it's one of its charged up shots, which to me, I was like, I find that to be very, very valuable, because sometimes, you know, I don't necessarily want to have to really give a fuck about the fact that there is a blunt sitting right there, you know? And now, you know, you got heavy gunners and snipers and all that kind of stuff. I better get my butt out of here, actually. Oh, I forgot this is survival. I might have to wait for them. Ooh. I'm gonna cross my fingers, and I'm gonna head out to the exit. They're probably gonna be really pissed that I gotta go. Ooh, Nami Skylar Blueprint. Let's go ahead and pick that up. Thank you. Thank you, KFT Jr. Too bad I'm gonna peace out right now. But no, I do have to kind of like appreciate that fact. I'm gonna go play with that relic and see if it gives them a little bit of a heads up. But no, that's kind of like how I feel about it, is like there's two different weapons for two different styles, you know? Definitely, you don't have to necessarily love one or the other, but I kind of want there to be a little bit of a realistic thought process behind all of it, because when it boils down to it, it's really what you prefer, and it really shouldn't kind of be anything other than that, right? And at the end of the day, as I said, I'm not picking your loadout for you, so you do you. I think I might have made them mad. Regardless, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Let me know which you prefer in the nicest way possible in the comment section below. Don't get all rowdy, don't get all mean, and most importantly, don't like start setting up situations where yours wins. You know, you're like, I'm surrounded by 50 enemies and I'm dealing this much damage with the Rakta Ceranos, or I've hit 50 like fucking bombards with a single shot and killed them all, and now they're all specters fighting for my side. Let's be realistic with this if you're gonna express how you feel. Regardless, I think it's a gorgeous weapon, number one. Number two, I think it's a really, really cool effect. And number three, I feel like I enjoy using this variation of the weapon more because it feels like the weapon itself is good. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm just using the weapon solely for the effect. It's like I'm using the weapon because the weapon can do all the kills and can get like the ghost specters. Regardless, I think I'm gonna be on the hunt for a Ballistca mod just to see if I can fill up that last slot. And let me know how you feel about everything that I've said in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo body. I'll see you guys next time. And just to let you know, sugar-free Coke zero sugar Coke, not terrible. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.